The more my anxiety fades into the background, the more I come back to myself, the more I want to spend time outside. This might be because my favorite white noise setting on my headphones, because you can mix in what kind of white noise you'd like to hear, is wind chimes and the ocean. I like ocean waves. You'd think that I would be more familiar with reading outside and just spending more time by the sea, at the park, under leaves, hearing the wind rustle through the trees, but I was not up to it. This year things are different. I feel different. I feel things are changing, and I'm trying to take as much advantage of that as I can. So I think that the best way to get absorbed in a book is when you're also absorbed in a really good environment. And if I love the sound of the waves, I might as well read by the waves, right? What better time than summer reading? What else am I doing? These are the books that I am hoping to read this summer, or that I'm going to be talking about. I was not sure they were all going to fit in here, but they do. And I'm so happy because I made this. This is my summer bag. I've got a mix of different books in here, some that I've read already, so they'll be kind of comfort rereads, and some that I am hoping to read for the first time. Recently, I was finally diagnosed with ADHD. Even though reading is maybe my biggest and most favorite hobby, I struggle so much with it. I struggle to keep my attention sustained depending on the genre and depending on, I guess, the density of the language. It's really unfortunate because beautiful writing, I love to get lost in it. I really love to just sink into lush, gorgeous prose. But, my attention doesn't always keep itself. If I'm able to reach some sort of peace level or something, these are the books that I'm hoping that I'll be reading when that's a thing. Oh, we should start with the Sarah Dessen for sure. Change of Plans by Sarah Dessen. She is one of my favorite authors and is an auto-buy author for me. Her books got me to fall back in love with reading when I had fallen out from it from several years. I don't know, I think I was always a big reader, and then somewhere around middle school, I just kind of stopped for a while, or I wasn't picking up books the same way that I used to, up until high school, I actually wanted to reread all of her books because they're just perfect summer books, but like during the summer. I wanted to make that like a summer challenge for myself, and I think it would be fun to read them all in chronological order? Is that right? Publication order. Yes. Because you can see her writing grow throughout each story, and also you get to know the characters and can spot them in little Easter eggs throughout other stories, even though they're all, standalone, they can be read by themselves. But I just really like that her characters will make cameos in other books. I like that the setting is some place that I feel like I kind of know after reading so many of these books and seeing these characters interact with this universe. I kind of feel like I'm stepping back into that universe every single time I pick up one of her books. Change of Plans is her latest one, and to be honest, I'm going in blind with this. I don't know what's in store for me. I started to read the inside tab here so that I could, give you a synopsis to share, but then I realized I don't want to know this for myself. I just want to fall into this story. I know what to expect from these books, I personally feel like I'm in a time of transition. It kind of feels like a second puberty. I'm not gonna lie, as like weird as that sounds, but I just feel like I'm kind of stepping back into myself, and this transitional period it's good, but it's kind of scary. So it's nice to pick up a book where characters are kind of going through the same thing, and I know that it's going to be handled with lots of love in it, They're always such good comfort reads for me, and I adore them, so I could not have this on my list. Also, this one's signed. Okay, what do we have next? To the Lighthouse and A Room of One's Own, of course. I'm pretty sure I was supposed to read A Room of One's Own at some point during college, but again, I was unmedicated. It's unfortunate because the bits that I was able to sit down and retain, I found myself really enjoying and wanting to sink into more. And so I feel like if I'm able to do that, then this is definitely on my list for the summer. It feels like I should do some justice for myself, for past me who didn't really sink into this and lean in fully. As for this one, this is more of, something that I kind of selected for myself outside of a syllabus. My boyfriend also is really interested in reading from Virginia Woolf. I think he also read A Room of One's Own and he really liked it. So I think it would be fun if this summer he and I mean, I'm not holding you to this, okay? These just feel like something I want to read by the waves, with the sound of the waves. So hopefully I finally get to read Virginia Woolf. Another reread, Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. I first read this during the summer. Oh my gosh, how many years ago was it? 7? I kind of associate this forever with summertime. I also see so much of myself in Anne. I feel like she and I have the same energy, the same spontaneity, the same love for adventure and stories, and just, I want to have an Anne summer. I feel like I remember a part where she's talking about a place holding so much scope for the imagination. I think it would be fun to reconnect with Anne this summer, and so she's on my reading list because I know that at least I've read it before, I can do it again. Ooh, I haven't read this one that I will be tackling for the first time, Out by Natsuo Kirino. Seems to be following a young woman who murders her abusive husband, quoting from the back here, and then seeks the help of her coworkers to dispose of the body and cover up her crime. I think more things are going to go on from there. I don't want to... I'm sorry I keep doing this to you. But I want to go into these ones that I have selected particularly blind, which is why I didn't say anything about A Room of One's Own and To the Lighthouse, because I want you to know that that's what's on my radar. They're off of recommendations, and I don't want to look at those recommendations so closely because I want to give myself room to be surprised. Last year, I read maybe the most 5-star books, no, definitely, not maybe, the most 5-star books of any year ever, which is a rarity for me because it's hard for me to get even one 5-star. I'm quite picky. And so I feel like if I can just lean into some of the things that I've been picking up that have been working well for me, like translated fiction. I have read a book from this author before, I'm pretty sure. This one's quite a bit longer, it's close to 400 pages. I figure if things work out for me this summer, this might be the summer that I get to this. Wait, actually, speaking of really long books, I don't have it on me, but I just remembered, thank goodness. So I'll insert this here, but I want to read The Little Friend by Donna Tartt this summer. This is the one book of hers that I haven't read yet. Last year, I read The Secret History, which became my favorite book of all time. I need a second. Every time I think about The Secret History, I need a second. Sorry, not to be dramatic or whatever. I read The Secret History and The Goldfinch. I liked both of them very much, but obviously I adored The Secret History. I just love her writing. I love the way that you're able to sink into some of those dizzying passages. I think especially in regards to The Goldfinch, the anxiety was something. It was something. I think overall she's really good at building up this, I don't want to say suspense, but it just kind of feels like I have to hold my breath the entire time. And it's dizzying and it's wonderful. And I want to sink into that again this summer. I am not afraid of big books anymore because I've tackled The Secret History, I've tackled The Goldfinch. What else did I read and love last year? Oh my God, Our Share of Night. Incredible. I don't think I'm scared of long books anymore if my attention can be sustained, hopefully. I really want to spend some time falling into Donna Tartt's work. Sorry, no synopsis again.
Hi, it's me, Indoor Nikki. I forgot a book. I left it at home because I'm actually currently reading this one, and then I forgot to put it in my pile of unread or unreread books. Anyway, it's East of Eden by John Steinbeck. Look at this cover. I don't remember where I saw this edition specifically, although I'm pretty sure it was Instagram, but I fell in love with it immediately. And this has been on my to read list for a while. I know this is a lot of people's like favorite book of all time, and I'm ready to experience that. I think a book following generations of families is always going to be something that intrigues me, because I think maybe this summer I should reread Our Share of Night. You can't see it, but I'm looking back there because that's where it is. My heart calls out to it. Anyway, this also just feels like the kind of book that I want to be reading outside in the first place. I actually did an exchange semester in the area of California that this takes place in. I'm up to, oh gosh, I think 150 pages, 160 in fact, and we are in California by this point. Masterpiece of Steinbeck's later years, a powerful and vastly ambitious novel that is at once a family saga and a modern retelling of the Book of Genesis. Okay, I'm down for a big book, so maybe should I hold it this way? I don't.
Perfect that I remembered that one, because we're up to the last one, and this is a reread, of course, so I can tell you what it's about. Summers at Castle Auburn by Sharon Shinn. I read this again for the first time during, oh no, it wasn't during summer. I think it was spring. It was like April, May. So close enough. The way that Sharon Shinn writes these books, and I guess this is a YA. I've read several of her YA books now, and they're just so comforting. They're very cozy to me. There are stakes and you are learning things, but I don't know, just something about the writing feels calmer. Maybe what I'm trying to say is that I need a story of growth and change, but in a fantasy context with stakes that I know are not going to, how do I put it? I want the character to like triumph by the end of it, so it's not going to be too bleak. And if you know me, you know I love bleak. I love to be upset. I love to be depressed. I love to, in my reading, I love to just have an awful time, so to speak, if it's written beautifully. But sometimes I need it to be cozy without feeling like it's being, what is the word I'm looking for? I'm struggling so hard right now. Cheesy, maybe, is the word. I don't really know what the term is, but this just feels comforting to the best degree. It feels like the perfect summer read for me. And I think the last time I was also in a period of change of some sort, but it was kind of in a downward way. Or I was just not in a as good of a place, but there were some changes in my life that were bringing things on an upward slant, and maybe that gave me a feeling of hope similar to what I'm feeling lately, which is why I want to return to this. I want to return to this summer at this castle following this girl. I am going to give you a synopsis. Look at me, everybody clap. She is the illegitimate child of an illegitimate child. So her grandmother is kind of quite against this. But her uncle has been taking her to the castle for the last, I think, 8 years. The story begins when she's 14 and goes on, I can't remember until when, but we watch her grow up throughout the years and watch how her view of life at the castle and the family that she only gets to see during certain times of year, the people that she admires, and just this other world that she has during the summer, the way that her perception of it changes throughout her life as she grows up. And I think it's a fantastic coming of age story with this really nice backdrop with some fae involved and magic, and just it's a comforting read for me. And I think I could use some of that this summer because I plan to read some distressing books. I'm sure I'm gonna read plenty of other things. I'm sure I'm gonna pick up 1,000 thrillers, maybe a romance or two. But these are just some things that I want to try to put my attention towards this summer as I spend my time out on the beach with my cute bag that I made myself. This video is not even about this. I should make a video about my creative projects, but I just couldn't help throwing this in here. I can't wait to sink into these pages.